listening to Average Joe's Chess, a chess podcast made by average chess players, but exceptional lovers.
We're gonna make love to you. Average Joe's Chess. We're gonna make love to you. Average Joe's Chess.
And honestly, when I picked it this morning, it was so swollen. It was, it's massive. It's massive. Right, they were yesterday. There were courgettes. I think it's all the rain has turned them into marrows. I don't know. But
I love that.
Unreal.
It reminds me of that scene in Phoenix Night. I don't know if you remember it, where the guy's drying his hands and he's doing all these motions, and you have no idea what he's doing. And when the hand dryer cuts out, he's like covered in piss.
Oh, Jofers, it's episode 18. What have we got 18 in store? What's coming up, Jofers? Can you remember?
Not a fucking clue.
Really can't you remember? Like, we've discussed this literally 5 minutes ago as it just gone. Have a go.
So
I've got a tick list. Go for it.
So today, it's all to do with like the psychology of chess, how to kind of outwit your opponent, how to not crack under pressure, different mind games, dirty tricks, coming up against people who just kind of do your head in because they are just playing slightly, I don't know, dirty tactics, etc. So yeah, it should be a funny one.
Ah, Jofers, you remembered more than I did.
It's almost as if you just told me, and it's literally been 10 seconds.
I've got the notes in front of me, and I was looking at them. I think I haven't even written any of that down. How does he know all this? Yeah, we're talking about on the board, off the board, whatever else with the board. I don't know. We're talking all of that, aren't we? So when you're playing online, when you're playing face to face, we're going to have some, as usual, amazing input from National Master Jesse Cohen, who has given us, as usual, some sterling top advice on this subject. And that's going to be later in the show. Before that, we're going to be talking about loads of other shit, aren't we? Like how your week's been, how you got on with your icy challenge, which involved your balls. We've got a new challenge to be set. I've actually got quite an exciting challenge, I think, this week for you and for me.
How many podcasts do you reckon have like a weekly challenge, and how many podcasts that have that weekly challenge have it revolving around pretty much just roasting someone's bollocks off?
Not enough. Not enough.
Yeah. Every trying to set a trend.
Needs this. If you've got a podcast, you're listening to this, get your challenges in. Get us on the show.
Get your bollocks out. Get
your bollocks. We'll come on the show. I'll offer you Joe's bollocks, some eyes, some blow talk.
There's nothing left after the bloody challenge. There's nothing to offer them.
Save it for this challenge section, Joe, first. We're going to chat about a week in general. We're going to talk about the Chess World Cup.
Yep.
And we can also tell people what we've been exceptionally loving this week.
Perfect.
So should we just kick off with Jofers? How's your chess week been?
You know what? We're going to kick off on a bit of a sad note. I've had probably the worst chess week of my life. Like, not only have I played awful chess, but I've just not enjoyed it. It's like, I've hated it. I've really not enjoyed chess this week.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened. It's I don't know if it's because the Chess World Cup has been on and I've been kind of really just worshipping chess, getting really into it, loving it. And then, you know, when you transition onto the board and you think, right, I'm going to be a grandmaster now. I've got it. I've learnt from them. I'm going to play so good. And then it just doesn't kind of... You just
realise you're a shit average player.
I'm awful, man. I'm shocking. So I think I've lost 200 points in Bullet this week.
I think this ties in nicely with the psychology of chess here. It sounds like the World Cup players have been getting into your head a little bit this week.
I think so, and almost like a bit of a gambling attitude, because once I lost like the first 50, even though I wasn't enjoying it, I thought, right, I got to get those rating points back now, and then I lost another 50, and I was like, fuck, I got to get 100 back now, and I was tired, and I was moody, and yeah, just an awful week.
Joe, episode 15 or 16 about like how to not get caught in what I've learned is called a tilt.
Yeah, fuck episode 15, man.
What a load of shit advice we must have given out there. It's really not helped you, man.
Yeah, I don't really practice what I preach. I'm awful. But I'm feeling good today, and I'm actually, I'm just ready to play some more chess. How about yourself?
What do you reckon? So, do you not like chess anymore? Do you want to just quit this game?
Yeah, this is me handing in my resignation. Find yourself a new co-host. I'm off.
Oh, man, I'm sure I could find somebody as crap as me and you, surely.
It's going to be tough.
But I don't know. I think I know where you're coming from. Sometimes this happens. Have you tried? Have you been learning new stuff, maybe? Is that the thing?
I haven't. I've just been... I think what it is with me is I've just fell into a trap of not enjoying bullet chess and wanting to move on to a slightly longer time control, but just forcing myself to at least try and get those rating points back before I do jump ship. But because I'm not enjoying it, I don't care about the game. So the second the game starts, I can't wait for it to finish. So I just need to...
What is the bloody point playing, man?
I don't know. I've been asking myself that all week. I think I'm just done with it, so I need to... But every cloud has its silver lining. It's making me want to go back into rapid.
This is what I was going to say.
There we go.
Your rapid rating of 1800 and something that you refuse to touch. And maybe that's your bullet thing. You're sort of having this little tilted run and you want to go back into playing longer time controls, but you're scared to lose what you've built up already. But now's your chance to lose that as well. And really lose your love for the game as you lose all your... all your
finish me off completely.
I think so. But I don't know, stick with it, Jofers. The only advice I can give you here is, you're a pretty shit player. I think, in all honesty, let's think about this. It's coincided with your first week back at work. So, you've got to change.
Yeah.
Go on.
I was just going to say, you should go into some kind of psychology or counselling or something.
Chess
Genuinely...
psychology, chess coaching. I've got a psychology degree somewhere, years ago. So maybe...
Really? There we go.
So maybe we could, maybe you're right. Maybe I could do like a counselling service for chess players.
Because I do think that's what it is. First week back at work, I'm kind of not happy about being there, etc. It wouldn't be this podcast if I didn't talk about how I want to leave the job and kind of resign every single podcast. So if my managers are listening, I don't mean any of it. I do love it. How about yourself anyway, Al? Has yours been slightly more positive than mine?
Well, it's been pretty just average. I've won some. I had days where I lost. Last night I was winning a few. Yesterday I spent a lot of time lying on my back on the sofa. And during that time, why are you smirking when I said that?
No reason. Was there a reasoning behind lying on your back on the sofa?
Is that the ice cream man?
That's
the second time. Does he know that we're doing a podcast and he thinks I'm going to get that free advertising here, just going to turn up outside Jofa's house?
I don't think he knows much because it's pissing down and it's probably the worst time to be selling ice cream. I don't think he's a very successful ice cream man.
I know that feeling. I was lying on my back as playing. So I just thought I'd just commit the time to playing chess, and I noticed something. I won about. Jesus, tell him to shut up!
Shut the fuck up, man! I just closed my window. There we go. So I realised I just shouted that, and what if there is a neighbour outside who's talking? I don't want to think that.
There's loads of kids queuing up in the rain at the ice cream van, and there's this grumpy twat over the road. Shut the fuck up!
The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, does it? I am my dad.
Oh, you are. What I noticed was I was playing chess. I was on my own, and I was winning the 5-minute blitz games. I was winning. God, 18 episodes in, I'm still confusing my rapid and my blitz, but I'll get there. I was winning the games, and then 2 members of my family came in, started chatting amongst themselves, asked me the odd question, and I started losing.
And where did you bury these family members?
I'm not telling you. But I'm going to start winning again. So I think for me, I just need that focus, that undivided attention on the board. I was telling somebody about it this week, actually. I don't know if you find this. I'm talking chess way too much now outside of the podcast. I'm becoming a real chess bore. Talking to just random people in supermarkets about chess. Yeah. It's weird. But I was telling somebody, and I was just saying that when I'm playing a game, sometimes I'm so into it, you sort of almost seeing the story. It's like watching a film, and they're all characters, and you're in the story of the game, the position that you're playing in, etc. And then when someone talks to you, it just snaps you out of it, and you're no longer in that zone anymore. And all the plans, all the thoughts, all the little things that I didn't even know I was thinking about that are probably going to assist me in the game have just gone. And I'm just thinking about doing the washing up or whatever else is going on in the house. I don't know. Do you ever get that, Joe, first, or am I just talking a load of shit here?
See, I thought you was going to go So I do agree, but I thought you was going to go down a different route. Just reminded me. So you know how you're saying how you feel like it's a film with different characters and this and that. I thought you was going to say something that I feel a lot of the time, where when that game finishes, you do feel like it's the end of a film, and you long for those characters again. It's like, oh, I miss my knight being on D3, and then I had my bishop here. And do you ever long for like an old game? It's like, oh, it was such a good time. Like, is that just really sad?
It's just really weird.
Is
Okay, so in my counselling capacity now,
Yeah.
just that's really weird, Jofers. You need
Okay.
better counselling than
Cut
me.
it out.
Mate. You need somebody who can prescribe shit for you, man.
But no, I do get, yeah, like, you know me, I can only play at like 1 a.m. once the world's gone to sleep, and it's literally just me, my chessboard and my demons, and I'm just whacking out some moves in complete peace and tranquility, and I can't play if I've got distractions. I'm awful.
What sort of moves do you whack out at 1 a.m. when you're on your own in your bedroom?
The kind that I don't want people to be seeing.
Should we move on? Because
Let's
talking
move on.
about that part of your body, why don't we talk about our challenge? Our challenge is
let's do
this
it, Al.
week.
Let's do it.
Mine's not going to be that interesting. Shall I cover mine and then we hit yours?
Don't be silly. I thought yours was... yeah, I've seen it, and I think it is interesting.
I love
the
the challenge, and
Yeah.
honestly, it was one of the most enjoyable few hours I've spent this week. I loved it. But in terms of funny stories, I haven't got much to tell. I mean, just to recap for everyone, my challenge this week was to create a bit of chess art, but it was using the power of fire. So I could do whatever I wanted, couldn't I? I could just use a fire to burn something, make a fire sculpture. I thought about this a lot all week. I thought, what the hell am I going to do? What shall I do? I come up with various ideas, sort of burning vegetables. I thought with those courgettes and marrows I've got, maybe I could carve them and set them on fire. But then, they're too good to waste. I didn't want to turn them into chess art. I went to the art gallery. I chatted with John T over there to ask him what I could do. He came up with some ideas too, and eventually I decided to make a template using some plywood, make a template of a chess piece, which was a knight, put it on another piece of plywood, and then using the blowtorch I just sort of burnt the knight's image in, and then I did the reverse on the other side. That's about it. I mean, it was fun. I got in the zone. I was like thinking what I'm going to do. I got my tools out. Had to overcome a few challenges. My jigsaw nearly popped out the wood at one point because it hasn't got the buttons broken. I can only switch it on and off via the plug, so it's really hard to not slice your fingers off. So that was fun.
Al, I think you're underselling yourself a little bit. You're making out like it wasn't anything special, but John T, your art critic friend who kind of runs the art gallery down the road, didn't he say something to do with how you remind him of like a young Leonardo da Vinci, and you've got this creative eye, and he said you could sell it for $1 million. Should we play what he actually said? It was something along those lines.
I mean, he's a fine art critic. Play what he said.
Yeah, here we go.
Personally, I really like it. I genuinely really like it. Would someone buy it? No. Definitely not. But I wouldn't take it away from the effort that you've put into it. It looks good. I like it. I like the sort of symmetry-ish. But a great attempt. How much is it worth? I would say I would pay no more than £10.
So yeah, it was. I may have got certain parts kind of messed up. In my head, it was a bit more kind of full of praise. But no, he thought it was a load of bollocks.
You know what? Glass half full, half empty.
Yeah.
A tenner. I mean, if I can get a tenner, and it only took me like 2-3 hours and like £8 worth of materials, I could be earning like 25p an hour or something doing this.
Ow, that is money in your pocket. Forget the podcast. There's millions to be made here.
In all honesty, what I'm thinking is, John T here has seen something in that. That's what I think. He's seen it as highly collectible. He's going to offer me a tenner for it, isn't he?
It's highly collectible to the scrap, man. Like, I just leave it outside, man.
So that's what I think he's going to hoard that. And I think in years to come, that's going to be a valuable piece of art. Valuable.
Jokes aside, I think it does look really good. I'm going to whack it on the Instagram as well, if that's
put it on
okay,
the
so people
Instagram.
can see
I've
it.
already put it on Twitter with a nice slow-mo
cool.
flame burning thing on there. The slow-mo pitch. Oh, that's lovely.
Oh, love a good slow-mo flame.
And John T will come into this podcast again later because I was chatting with him yesterday about this, and he's come up with some cracking stuff. So,
cool.
I'll mention him again. So, Jofers, how are your balls?
What balls? they're gone, man. Do you want to recap? In fact, I'll recap what the challenge
I'm gonna have
was.
a sip of coffee. You recap.
Yeah, okay, perfect. So essentially, I've already had one challenge 1 week where I had to go into an ice bath, and that was bad enough. That was tough. Like, the voice notes speak for themselves. I was in pain. I was in agony. And this time you thought I shouldn't even have the luxury of having an actual bath. You just wanted me to get a bunch of ice, so like, let's say 100 ice cubes, and just shove them down my boxers. For whatever reason, play a few games of chess while my bollocks are on fire, and just see how I got on.
Do you know that isn't what the challenge was? But I like that. That's what you
Was
did.
it not? Have I dreamt all this? I could have sworn that's what the challenge was.
It's just your fantasy, isn't it? 100 ice cubes.
Remind me.
I do get that in your pants there is room for 100 ice cubes. I get that.
Thank you. Oh wait, I thought that was a compliment for a sec. God damn it.
Well, you're on the right lines. I think it was to put an ice cube in and as close to your scrotal area as you can, because I tested
Just
it.
one?
Just one.
I flooded it, man.
No. It does involve more. So it was if you win a match of bullet, you get the luxury of another ice cube. So every match you win, every game you win, you get another ice cube on the bollocks. Well, obviously, depending how many you can get down there, and it could touch your...
How many bollocks I can get down there? I'm kind of limited with what I can do.
I mean, you can press... they can go on your wang. They can go anywhere you like, just down there. And then every time you win, you put a fresh ice cube in. Every time you lose, you pour the ice cubes out and suck them.
I mean, those ice cubes didn't stay fresh for long, I can assure you.
That wasn't part of it. So the ice cubes go in, and you keep doing it until you've got 10 wins, 10 ice cubes. If they melt, you have to put more in. But that was all. You only needed, like, to win 10 matches, have 10 ice cubes. So you put 100 ice cubes in your pants.
Yeah, it looked like 100. It felt like 1,000.
1,000 ice cubes in your pants and played bullet chess.
Yep.
How was it?
It was weirdly quite satisfying. It was all right.
Have you found a kink?
No, of course it wasn't. It's fucking horrible.
Really?
Oh man, my gonads were they were tingling. They were, you know, when it's so cold that your brain stops thinking when you're in an ice bath. It doesn't happen when it's just on your bollocks. It's the complete opposite. You just go into pure lockdown, and it was awful. But what I have found is, so the blessing in disguise. Something, you know how a tragedy will happen, but then I don't know, you'll find out that you've got a superpower because of it. I found what my superpower is.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm intrigued.
So, the second the ice cubes hit my bollocks, they would just melt. I don't know why. They didn't stay whole for very long. Like,
Really?
I don't know if I've got like radioactive bollocks or something. I don't know if it's... Yeah, I've started calling myself Chernobyl cock. I don't know I don't know what's going on down there, but it's... Yeah, I don't think I can sell this story to Marvel or DC. I don't think it's very kind of kid-friendly. I just can't see how I can solve crime
Maybe
with
not,
this
but you
superpower.
could do DIY and stuff like melting things or cooking things. You could use those balls to help people out.
He's going to read a comic book about a man who does DIY with his icy bollocks.
I've got one. It's this energy crisis. It's going to be another cold winter, isn't it, for most people?
It is. Yep.
Why don't you go around knocking doors now, offering people like they can put their hands down your pants and warm up on your bollocks for 10 minutes. Just an idea.
But you know, this energy crisis is mostly affecting the elderly, and I don't think this this ain't the reputation I want.
So you got really hot bollocks. How was your chess while you were playing it? Like, did you win the bullet?
So yeah, I won the first game, and then by the second game, I'd given up. I'm not going to lie. I just thought, right, I've got the first one in the bag.
In the bag?
Just in the bag, if you pardon the pun. But yeah, I was doing it on Lee Chess as well, so because I would have liked to review the game afterwards, but yeah, I should have done it on my chess.com account. But I couldn't log in time. I thought, I've already got like ice cubes on my bollocks. I can't be spending too long. I don't know, with login details, but it was interesting. It just makes me want to go harder on your future challenges. So yeah,
that's why this
gives me the fuel.
I told you I'd set the challenges, didn't I? I said there was no need for you to come up with one. You think I'm
You knew I'd bite back.
I'm not. God, I can't even believe you did this challenge. I thought you were just going to come on here and either say you didn't do it or lie about it.
Nah, Al, I'm dedicated. I've got a picture as well, which will go on Instagram. I'll have to
no,
maybe.
seriously?
You're going to unfollow the podcast now, aren't you?
Oh my God. You know, I'm looking at you now through the phone, like looking at you doing the video here. What's all that steam? Like in front of your face, I've just seen it all rising up, all this steam. Are you still melting ice down there, mate?
It's my new trick, man. Honestly, I'm going to be in the circus with this.
Wow, I'm going to come up with a nickname for you for next week, a new one, Joe.
Oh, I like
based
that.
on your hot balls.
And to be fair, yeah, if any of the listeners to this want to also give me a nickname based on my radioactive bollocks, then please do. I'd love to hear
Let
it.
us know. Send it in. We've had some lovely comments this week, haven't we, Jofers?
Oh man, it's been lovely.
What's the name of the guy on Instagram? Casey Zachary on Instagram. Contacted
so,
us
yeah.
from Haiti.
Yeah.
Casey, loved that. Loved the chat we've been having on Twitter as well.
Yeah, what a guy.
I volunteered us to go and walk the trails of Haiti with him, or with them, recording recording our podcast until I realised how bloody dangerous it is out there, man.
Is it?
Oh, it's the Foreign Office don't want you to travel to Haiti, so you're going on your own on this one, Joe. First, I'm not going to be able to make this trip.
I think the last thing they want is someone with radioactive bollocks in their pants coming over and making things more dangerous.
It's going to make it worse, isn't it? But yeah, we've had some lovely. If you want to leave us a lovely comment, then you can
How
go
crazy
on.
is that though? Like, there's a guy just walking in beautiful Haiti, I don't know, enjoying the seaside and whatnot, and he's got us in his ears just talking about pure filth. I love it.
No, I love it too. I love it.
What
Do you
a
know,
guy.
actually, while we're on the subject, before we go into our new challenges, do you know this month we've been listened to in over 40 countries around the world? Yeah. And there are actually over 40 countries in the world.
You're kidding.
Seriously, man.
Nah.
And we've been listened to in Norway, 7 downloads from Norway, which isn't loads, but I don't know if Magnus has he been in Norway this month? Has he been back there? He must have been.
I mean, the stats don't lie. That's all Magnus, that is.
Yeah, it is Magnus. So yeah, US is our number one, then UK, Canada, Australia, Sweden, Germany, Israel. It just goes on, Joe, first.
You're making half of these countries up. These aren't real countries.
They're not
surely.
real countries. Actually, talking about making them up, what I thought I'd do for you is ask you some questions. So I looked up the names of chess pieces in different languages.
Ooh, I like that.
I haven't got much for you here because I literally spent a minute on this just before we started recording.
It's good of you to be so prepared for the podcast. I appreciate that.
Thank you. In Sweden, what is a king called?
See, I thought you'd give me the name and I'd have to guess what piece, but I just have to learn Swedish on the spot.
This is going to be the worst quiz ever because you don't know Swedish, do you?
I'm just going to go with some footballers. So I'm going to go with the Seb Larsson.
Yep, you're correct. So basically, do you know what? Let's scrap this section. It's crap. So what I am going to do is just tell you the 2 funniest ones. So king in Swedish was kung. And the queen was damn. And,
Damn.
And another the rook was a torn. But my favourites actually are the Estonian for rook and the Danish for knight. They are just my favourite. I'm going to give you choices for the Danish for knight anyway was great. It's Springer.
Oh, that's clever.
I want to call my knight my Springer from now on.
You can now.
Look at it. Look at the Springer. Estonian for rook. So your choices. Let me come up with some. No, I'll just tell you what it is. It's
Go on.
Vanka.
Vanka. That's amazing. What's that for a rook?
For a rook is a Vanka.
I'm just going to start referring to you as the Estonian rook.
Well, you're always vanking your rook, aren't you? So... Anyway, we digress there. But yeah, if anybody out there in one of those 40 countries or more than one of those 40 countries, you can leave reviews for us or contact us on Twitter or what was that one? Instagram? Yeah, Instagram.
We're also trying to put together a little chess.com club, haven't we? Get some games on the go, a few tournaments, a few prizes maybe.
We've got a chess.com club. I'm going to drop the link in the description today. So far, we got 2 members, 2 average chess players. Not going to say who they are.
Is that me and you?
Yes, me and you.
I don't even remember joining it. How sad. I'm going to leave that.
I might have joined you up when I hacked your password.
I don't want to be associated with that shit.
But join our club because, I will go into it in a minute, Joe. First, should we carry on with our chess challenge? But yeah, leave us a review, please. It's very nice of you if you do. We appreciate it. This week's challenge, Joe, first. So, you know what? I thought I'd give you the challenge, and we were both going to have this challenge, and I think it's quite an exciting challenge, and it's going to take more than a week, but we can report back next week on how we've got on. But I also then thought of other challenges for you, little side challenges.
Okay.
So I would like to set this side challenge first for you, because I just think it'll make amusing listening to next week.
Okay, let's go for it.
So it's actually to do with our topic of the psychology of chess.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that like all the smack talk gets to you, and and there was that time when I got you to record. I got you to play games, and you were quoting song lyrics. What was the song again? Erasure.
It was a little respect. Give a little respect to me.
You had to quote those song lyrics as your challenge to people and see what response is. I want you to go the other way this time, to sort of inoculise yourself. Is that the right word? Immunise yourself against smack talk by, at the start of games, asking people to just talk shit and give you smack talk. I want them to insult you. Yeah, please talk to me. Treat me like your bitch. I want you to. I want them to abuse you while they're playing, and so encourage it. Promise you won't report them, etc. You know, it's fine. Or no holds barred. Let them just talk shit to you and try and wind you up. Just make the offer, clever. And then you can report back if anyone's took you up on this offer.
Oh, I like this. Oh, yeah, let's go for that.
Little side challenge.
Yeah,
so the main, fun. Yeah, you happy with that one, Jofers?
It depends what the comments are. I'm happy at the moment, but I'll report back.
Can't wait to hear. So, yeah, the other challenge, right, is what we were thinking is what your challenge and my challenge is. We need to recruit a young fighter, a young chess player, not fighter. I'm thinking of Rocky here, but this is chess. And when I say young, someone over 20 that could probably like listen to the podcast and so on.
Okay.
And, you know, you're not going to get reported for swearing and all. Anyway, whatever. Choose someone who can't play chess. Train them up, Joe. Make them your protege. Protege?
Okay.
My words aren't working today. Is that a word? Protege? Protege?
Prodigy? You're asking the wrong person. Like, if you're dumb, I'm dumber.
Well, that's good news for this challenge, because I need you to be as dumb as possible. So you're their trainer. You are their Mickey Goldmill, and you've got to train them up. I'm training my fighter up, and then they're going to play each other. And we're going to put it on our YouTube. The matches are going to be on our YouTube with me and you coaching them. Maybe a series of matches. I like this. And then I should have probably discussed this with you first, obviously, but you know, it's just what I think we should do. Train them up, see how they get on. At some point, maybe I'll interview your chess player, your fighter, and see how how your coaching's going. Maybe give them a few tips that might help them win. You're not talking to mine. I've already got one person in mind. I've got one recruit for the first fighter in my stable. Eventually, we're going to have a stable of fighters ready to do battle with each other. Maybe we'll recruit them from our chess club.
I'm going to get my young friend Jesse Cohen or Robert Ramirez. I don't think they play chess, so yeah, I think I'll teach them a little bit and see what they can do for me.
What does the NM stand for? I noticed they both have NM in front of their names. NM Jesse Cohen.
Just nothing much. It's
nothing
just
much.
average.
They've
never played chess. No.
Take one of them and train them.
So what are the rules? So they can never have played chess. I'm guessing that's the rule. Never have played chess.
They can play a little bit, just like a low-rated. Maybe the person I've got in mind just doesn't play chess. So
do they know the rules?
I don't know. He might know some of the rules. He does critique art, and I do owe him a bit of a beating for this. So I'm going to train that guy hard, John T. If you're listening, you're going to suffer in this process. Not really, John T. It's going to be great. We're going to train them up. So report back next week. I'm going to try and recruit a few. I might get some candidate moves going on and then select the best candidate. You get your candidate moves on, select the best candidate, get some on the back burner for later down the series, and then we'll challenge them. And at some point, maybe we'll even meet up and do an over-the-board challenge between them in a pub somewhere or something like that.
Yeah, no, this is lovely. It's like nothing overly competitive, nothing kind of no smack talk or. But no, genuinely, I am going to fuck you up. Like I'm going all in, man.
I want evidence though that they've never played. I'm going to thoroughly interview your fighter and make sure they haven't got any chess experience. Don't think you're going to get one over on me here, man. I know
give you a fake number and put on an accent.
You bastard. So you're happy with that challenge? I think. I'm
really happy. I like both of those.
Nice. It's not too early in the game, is it? In terms of we not actually haven't got a YouTube up and running and stuff like this. Maybe this will be the start of it.
This is like the little push we need.
There we go, Jofers. Challenge is done. Challenge
Beautiful.
accepted. Jofers, how's your week been? Let's just talk non-chess for a minute. We talked a lot of chess for this chess podcast.
We do. Yeah, it's been all right, to be fair. Like you said, first week back at work, so obviously it's a bit slow. But yeah, just had a really sporty week. Some football, some badminton. We should do a little episode on like chess nutrition or sport nutrition, because I fucked up big time the other day before football.
What did you do?
So it was my friend's birthday, so we all went to like a shisha lounge, and obviously I don't really smoke shisha because my body's a temple and whatnot. So instead I opted for like a big plate of samosas, then a big plate of onion rings and some fries as well.
Good things to put in the temple.
Oh yeah, oh god, they belong in a temple. And I played football straight after, and oh my god, when I had it, I was thinking there might be some chance that maybe this is really good for you and this will be my best game ever. I could barely walk, I could barely run, I couldn't kick the ball. It was shocking.
Really? How was like your indigestion type things? Were you belching, farting? Did it affect
Big
you?
time.
Were you sweating?
Oh, all of it. I do all of this when I haven't eaten. Like, this is just, that's me on a good
It's a very
day.
interesting choice. It's like almost like sort of 1960s. Did you not have some pints of beer as well and a couple of fags, a cigar?
Couple of Marlboro, yeah, couple of ciggies. You just reminded me of a really funny joke that you told me, but I think it's for another time because it's kind
Is
of
this about
long.
Steve Bull getting pulled off
Yeah.
at half time?
Oh, you've just said the bloody punchline.
Yeah, tell it next week because there'll be any listeners
They
who
will
haven't
have
bothered
forgotten.
listening this week. Yeah.
But nah, decent week. Not happy to be back at work, but it is what it is. So yeah, it just inspires me to leave and set up like a little, I don't know, bloody chess job somewhere. Or
Nobody's
we'll
going
work
to
it out.
employ you with your radioactive bollocks and all this talk that you do on here. You mention your bits way too much to get a job in chess.
I think I could donate my body to science, maybe. Like, they would love it.
You think so?
I think so. To a certain they'd be into certain parts of it. But yeah, how's your week been, Al?
It's been good. It's been a good week. Finished it off nicely on Friday night. We had some people over, which we don't do that often. Went to the pub. Do you know, 4 drinks in the pub, Jofers? Have a guess how much 4 drinks cost?
Ooh, down your ends, I'm saying like 6 or 7 grand.
Even close. £34 for 4
That's
drinks.
disgusting.
Yeah,
Disgusting,
I bought 2
Al.
rounds. Cost me 68 quid for 4
My God,
people.
man. You're going to have to remortgage your house? That's awful.
It's shocking, isn't it? But it was a nice night. Started off with pizzas. I love cooking pizzas, as you know.
And ended in bankruptcy.
Ended in bankruptcy and tears.
Perfect night.
So that was good. Also enjoyed last night. My oldest daughter, she doesn't really do sleepovers that much now, being nearly 17. But her friend, who she's been best mates with since she was 4, they've always had sleepovers, and it was nice. She invited her round again. I've got the garage detached from the house where, they can sleep in that and so on. It's not a garage anymore. It was a garage. But the reason I'm going into this much detail is because in the past they used to always sneak upstairs some crisps and some popcorn. I don't know, get some juice or whatever. This time they took lager and cider into the garage.
Oh, I love that.
It's so nice. And I'm talking for the Americans out there, hard cider, not apple juice, like actual alcoholic cider. They didn't take a lot, but I just thought that's so nice. Just, going in there with a can of lager,
Proud
a can
dad
of
moment.
cider, proud dad moment.
Go on, girl. Yeah.
Yeah, so that was good. Also, this week we had a meeting with chess.com, as you know.
Did.
We won't go into too much detail as yet, but it was a very positive meeting. Enjoyed that, and it's all good. Everything's good, Jofa. So
Life is
week.
good, Al. Let's head on to the topic of this week, because I think that'll also be a good one. That'll be fun. That'll be funny. Should we crack on?
Crack on, Jofers. Chess psychology.
Oh, do you want to tell me what that means to you? What's your experience with...
What's my experience with chess psychology? Well, I think psychology in sport in general, if things used to and still do to some extent these days, still get into my head. I could be in a completely winning position. Let's say I was playing badminton and it's going to 21. I could be at 19. My opponent's on 11. And I'll just let them catch up and beat me for some weird reason. I don't intend to. It just happens. It's just like this mental. I cannot get like that cross that finishing line and win the game. Doesn't happen as much these days. I think my head's in a stronger place for these things.
So you reckon you didn't have that like cold-blooded killer instinct to kind of like finish off a game even if you're quite a few points ahead?
I think I've always had that, Jophus.
Really?
I'm just compassionate, cold-blooded killer. No, really? Honestly, I don't know what it was. And but in chess, I think there's time. So when we played a tournament before, and it was me, you, your brother Luca, a couple of your mates or whatever. Do you remember?
Yeah.
I had like a bit of a accelerated heartbeat playing it.
Really?
And stuff. I wouldn't have done if it was strangers, but it's because it's people I know, and that got into my head and affected my performance a bit.
No, I had the same thing. I do remember that tournament. I don't know if it's the same for you, but I think part of it is to do with maybe the mentality of some of the other people. Some of them are more competitive than maybe we naturally are. So
maybe.
I don't know. I might be wrong.
You don't want them to you've sort of bigged yourself up how good you are at chess, and then they're going to just say, you're actually really shit, aren't you? You're just an average Joe. Maybe.
Well, I do remember. I do remember that I was actually probably one of the worst chess players there. So back then, like you and Luca, your ratings were a lot higher than mine. I wasn't. But I ended up winning that tournament.
Fuck off.
I think.
Shut up.
Just speaking facts out.
I ended up winning it, so yeah.
Just had to get it in.
Yeah, but just giving me all that smack talk. This part of something we're going to discuss. Smack talk.
Okay, but no, I was just going to say, I do remember checkmating Luca in a certain game when I think he was like up 10 points of material. He was all over me. But I don't know if he felt the pressure of like, oh, I'm smacking him, I'm going to just demolish him here. And then I think he just left like a back rank checkmate open or something like that. But yeah, maybe I am just bragging. I don't know what it is.
Oh, you're bragging big time. I think it's, all that ice has gone to your ball bag, and it
really has.
It's really... so, in terms of my chess psychology, yeah, I do feel a little bit of tension, nervousness sometimes. If I'm playing a game and there was a higher rated player, maybe that sort of thing. That's where I'm coming at it from, I think. But not just that. So you know why this week's topic, I suggested it to you, why it came about was because I watched the Chess World Cup, and I just saw after, not the final match, but it was after one of the drawn matches with Magnus and Prag, and then at the end Magnus got up and he sort of put his arm on Prag's shoulder in a very nice way. And sort of smiled and nodded his head and said something, and he had his arm on his shoulder. And I felt that gesture was almost, I'm sure he didn't calculate it, or maybe he did, but it's like that sort of fatherly, I'm older than you, I'm the wise man of chess, you did good, that was a great match. It was the body language of it to me. If he'd done that to me, I mean, I would have Krav Maga'd him to the ground instantly. You can't do that. But if he'd done that to me, I would have thought, it would have got in my head a little bit, I think. And he might not.
If he did it to me, I would have knocked the board over with my erection. Like, the second his hands are on me, I'm like, oh my god.
Have you actually even got a penis anymore with those hot balls? It hasn't melted it away.
That's a valid point. But imagine if we looked into it and it turns out that Prag's had like a bad shoulder since he was 4, and Magnus is there just trying to like rough him up a little bit to the cameras. Everyone else is like, oh, what a lovely moment between the two of them, and he's just like mouthing to, he's like, I'm gonna fuck you up, you prick.
I imagine. So that's why this came back. So I was just thinking, the psychological tactics, advantages you can play on the board, off the board. I remember talking to your mum about this recently, like move timings. And I think I've seen Eric Rosen do similar things when he's doing some of his gambits, and he's like...
Oh, he goes for the...
Oh, no, quickly move something.
Oh, yeah.
All of that business. It's that psychological thing. The person doesn't actually have to be sat in front of you. So, yeah, I mean, what's your experience, Jophus?
No, I think I'm the same as you, and I also learnt a lot during the Magnus and Prag game the other day, all to do with psychology. I didn't realise this was a thing, but Magnus always turns up with like a second to spare, almost. It's, I don't know, almost kind of signals to the opponent, like, I don't need to come and prep, like, I'm just going to come and win, blah, blah, blah. And when he gets there, rather than going straight into the game and whatnot, he just readjusts all his pieces. So he wastes about maybe like a minute of his time just doing all this. And there was one as well where Prag did the opening move, so he was white, did the opening move, and the commentator's like, Magnus definitely knows what move he's going to do against this. It's literally the first move of the game. It's not a complex one. But I think he took, no word of a lie, maybe like 2.5, 3 minutes before making that move, almost like burning his clock down as if to say, like, I don't need this time. Or he could just be a lazy git and just, I don't know, be off with the fairies, just kind of having a think about life. Who knows?
I can't be asked today. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we look into it too deeply and we think, oh, this must mean something. But maybe sometimes it's just, I don't know.
Maybe he's just like really indecisive. He's,
Could be.
I don't know what to do. I don't know which way to move. And then he just...
100%.
You think it's all luck with Magnus? Is that where you're coming at? Like, he isn't a good
Yeah,
chess player, he's
100%.
just lucky.
Shocking. There's nothing different separating him and me. It's just pure luck.
You see what we're doing? We're getting into Magnus's head because he's in
Exactly.
Norway, we know, listening to this, and he's thinking, "You bastards! I'm going to get you. I'm going to play you. I'm going to beat you." But we know we're in his head now, and he's not going to win.
He ain't got shit, man. I'd like to see him play with bloody ice on his bollocks.
Yeah, would you?
I would, to be fair. Yeah. I'd pay good money for that. But now, all jokes aside, I think, yeah, I've kind of, I don't know, playing sport and whatnot over the years, like, you do have, like, the whole psychological side of things. Obviously, we've got so many family tournaments, which we talked about last week. We've got the darts, we've got the ping pong, we've got cricket, all of that kind of stuff. We play against each other all the time. And obviously, I grew up in a family where there wasn't that competition because there wasn't anyone who was any good at sport. And so I did find myself walking to each title just fairly easily. So I didn't have to think of the psychology of things because...
You know, we let you in. We discussed this last week. We all had this agreement. Let's let Joe win for something.
I know. But yeah, we actually kind of asked these questions to our good friend, National Master Jesse Cohen, who, I mean, he's actually been to chess tournaments, so he's seen kind of on the front line how things go down at chess tournaments, what kind of tactics there are. And yeah, some of the stuff he said, yeah, kind of surprised me, but I just found it so interesting. So
should we play some of it?
Yeah, let's go for it. So what is the first one that he said? Let me have a little look.
This was when he was talking about the clock.
Oh, yeah, so we were saying, like, should we be using mind games in chess or should we just rely on skill purely? And, yeah, this is what he had to say.
Play it.
Psychology is such an interesting question in chess and something that definitely comes up a lot. You know, I've heard of it coming up in a lot of different ways. I heard recently that Viswanathan blames his loss against Garry Kasparov in the World Championship because he claims that Gary was purposely smacking the clock hard in order to distract him. 6-time U.S. champion Larry Christensen one time was having dinner with me, and after the first round of the U.S. Open, he lost to this Latvian women's FIDE master. And granted, it wasn't the most tasteful conversation, but he basically said, you know, she wouldn't stop staring at me. She wouldn't stop staring at me. There are all sorts of things. I mean, I've heard of international master kicking people under the table. I don't know. Again, these are all stories. I have never actually been part of them. Although I can say, you know, that there's definitely psychology at the board. I mean, who doesn't feel more pressure when they actually have some physical person sitting across from them, especially if that person looks extremely confident and, you know, calculating and all that stuff. I make it a personal point when I play my moves. Every single time I play a move on a chessboard, I act like it's the greatest thing that ever happened. Like, boom, like take that. You know, you've got to sell it. Sometimes an opponent will be rustled up and scared just by a move you've made, and they'll immediately stop considering correct responses.
So yeah, I think there was 3 or 4 examples there of different people who have used kind of, I don't know, really weird psychological things to get a slight advantage, whether they meant to or not. I think some of them probably did. But yeah, there was everything from whacking the clock really hard to... I know, it's just so petty. I love that.
Imagine sitting playing chess, whacking your clock really hard. Actually, imagine sitting there genuinely punching yourself in the dick.
That would be a very good psychological tactic, wouldn't it?
But you can't make noise, so you've got to respond silently.
That'd be brilliant. I think, yeah, this is why we don't get invited to too many over-the-board championships, I think.
I mean, what about, like, I just love that, hitting the clock really hard. It's like, bang, I've hit that clock really hard. And then the next move, you could just do like little walkie feet towards it. Just with your fingers, let your fingers do the walking, go up to use a little pinky little finger and just tap it down gently. Just vary that sort of clock slapping.
That's it, just be really weird. Yeah, you
like that sort of slap the booty type.
Oh, yeah.
That sort of thing. You could
we need to make this a visual podcast. That was beautiful.
Make it visual. You just got to stand up and bam, slap that clock. That sort of disgusting behaviour.
I love how the first half hour before the podcast, you're like, oh, my back hurts too much, I can't do the podcast. And now halfway through, you're standing up, you're giving it all that, you're smacking the invisible booty.
It's just my exercise routine. It helps with the sciatica. That's the only reason I'm doing it.
I know how you've got a bad back now. It all makes sense. But yeah, one of the interesting things he said as well is how sometimes you just got to sell your move, even if it's not the best move in the world. Make that move and just pretend that move is like the dog's bollocks. Like, oh, I've just made the best move of all time. Walk away. Yeah, there's no mistake here. Anything like that. And it reminded me of another thing from the World Cup recently where Magnus Carlsen versus, I think it might have been Vincent Keimer, young lad. I think Magnus Carlsen did. I think he just he did like a big blunder and or like a big mistake certainly, and it would have really given Vincent Keimer the chance to win the match. But he just completely missed it, didn't even look for a mistake, and the commentators were saying people just don't expect Magnus to make mistakes.
Exactly.
Whereas if he didn't have that poker face, if he had have like did the move and been like, oh, for fuck's sake, what have I done? Like, I think that would have given it away. And
it's a chance he would have given it away. What about the staring thing as well? You were saying about
I love that.
I would love to play and just stare at someone constantly, not even look at the board, just move the pieces while staring at them.
I just feel sorry for
it. Just sort of try and work it out and just move. Hopefully move the correct pieces and just stare straight at them. Staring chess. It's like we've got the boxing chess. What about staring chess?
No, it is funny because when I heard that comment, I was thinking, am I just really egotistical for thinking that, like, if that was me, I'd be like, oh, you know what? I think he's into me. Like, I think I got a chance here. I sense some kind of energy, but the whole time they're just trying to, like, put me off my game.
You're getting a lot of bar fights because of this.
A little bit.
What about the next? We were talking next about ratings, weren't there? And like, this has affected me where it genuinely affects me. If I'm looking at it, and I'm thinking, well, currently I might be rated 1600 in Rapid. I'm playing now someone rated 1700 or 1800. I've got a feeling they're going to win. And I've lost from the start. And conversely, I'll be playing somebody who's rated like 14 or 13. And I think, I really should win this, but I know they're going to beat me. And I tend to win more matches against people closely rated to me, whether higher or lower. Yeah. Even if I've been both those ratings, I might have gone up as high as that, and I definitely have been as low as that. But it gets into my head again. I suggested to you once, like putting a post-it note over the top of the screen so we can't see the person who we're playing. But
it would be interesting. It's I think I go down the opposite road. So I'm the same as you. If I'm versing someone who's lower rated, I do relax a little bit too much, etc. But when I'm versing someone who is, let's say I get matched against a national master or something like that, or a FIDE master, or whoever it is, the pressure just goes. I just think I've got nothing to lose here. Yeah, I'm not supposed to be winning this game. I've got no chance of winning, so I may as well just try and play. And I don't know, all the pressure's on them, isn't it?
It is.
That's how I look at it.
That's true, and I guess that's true. If we look at it in terms of I feel pressure when I'm playing a lower rated player, well, obviously it's going to be the same for them.
Yeah, and of course they just wipe the floor with us.
Oh, yeah, because they don't feel that sort of pressure. They're just going to go, smash this guy.
Shall we, 100%, shall we play Jesse's answer?
Play it.
Let's go for it.
Looking at a player's rating is a very, very common thing that people do. I mean, you go and you look at your pairing and you see who you're playing, you see what color, and of course, you see their rating. And it can make a huge impact. If you're playing someone way lesser rated than you, then you often will think, oh, this is going to be easy. And what it can often do is it can end up relaxing the player and they're not trying so hard. And this is why upsets can happen like that. Or controversially, on the other end, you're playing against someone who's 500 points or greater above you. You're just like, oh my God, I'm going to get slaughtered. And you don't even believe in yourself. I can't say this enough. With all the different psychology stuff, none of that really matters. What really matters is where we are mentally when we play a move. And here's where we should be. When you play a chess move, there should not be an ounce, not an iota, of happiness, sadness, excitement, fear, name any other types of emotions, you should truly feel calm about your chess move. You know, even if it's a good chess move, you should have calculated it so thoroughly that you're like, okay, I just know it's correct, and you play it. Again, if you're about to play a chess move and you are feeling emotions and you can tell, stop yourself, get up, go get a glass of water, walk around. Do not make a chess move until you are feeling absolutely calm. Anything else is shorting yourself of your best chess.
So yeah, I loved how he was saying the only thing that matters is kind of where you are in terms
no
of
emotion.
Yeah, no emotion. So it matters where you are mentally when you make a move. So don't have emotion when you make a move. You shouldn't be happy. You shouldn't be sad. You should just, I don't know, feel relaxed. And I don't think I've ever made a move and not felt utter sickness in my belly. Like I just, every move I make, I always think I've fucked something up big time. Go on.
I was just saying about like getting up and walking off and coming back.
Yeah, I should do that. Yeah,
but what if you're on the toilet doing a poo while you're playing chess?
just gotta walk off, and it's down to the cleaner then. Like that's on them.
Yes, no, it's true. It's just a bloody game, innit? Well, for most of us, some people it isn't. It's their profession and so on. But really, it shouldn't feel emotional, should you? You're just moving pieces around 64 squares.
Exactly. So detach yourself from the moment. Just think. But it's very true what he said. If you're making the right move, you shouldn't feel a certain way. You should trust your calculation and just take it from there.
What's calculation?
I don't know. I think we're going to find out like episode 50. I'm open.
That the calculation is something we need to be looking at.
Yeah. I think so. I reckon it might be slightly integral to chess.
What about Smack Talk, Jofers? What did Jesse say about that? Should we place Jesse's answer on Smack Talk?
Yeah, let's go straight into it.
Smack talk is just fun. You know, I mean, I would never expect or condone or I can never actually say, there's never been a time I've ever seen smack talk happen in an actual tournament game. I'm pretty sure everyone in the quiet tournament hall would hear, the tournament director would get involved and be like, this is obnoxious, rude, inappropriate behavior, and if you continue, I will forfeit you. However, in a blitz setting, or if you're going downtown to play with the gentleman in the park for push-ups or whatever you do, then yeah, smack talk is certainly part of the game. And I'll be honest, I use it myself. Not only is it incredibly fun to do, but you can get inside the head of your opponent and start making them second guess themselves. And that can be really fun too.
Okay, so yeah, smack talk. Are you quite the smack talker, Ro?
Never. No, genuinely, I don't do...
Against me, you are.
Okay, if I was playing you, if I'm playing somebody I know, I might do. But it depends what style of ribbing we're having with each other, whether we're doing that. I don't like to use it like in chess. I don't use it when I'm playing like and typing messages to people saying things. It's happened to me quite a few times where they've said stuff to me. I try not to let it get into my head, but invariably you do think about it a little bit.
I've noticed you only smack talk when you're losing, so when it's clearly a joke, if that makes any sense. So like you don't really play video games, so whenever me and Luca played you at FIFA, it could be maybe like 27-0 with like 1 minute to go. And you just be smack talking us, so just really brutal, just like you fucking idiots, I can't believe you fell for this, like just watch what's going to happen. And so I like that kind of thing where it's like tongue in cheek.
I'm not going to use it if I'm ahead already and I just want to put you down. I've been subjected to it in many other sports like snooker when I've played that, badminton. Marcus, who I used to play, a Trinidadian friend, when I played snooker with him, we used to play every day, and he was such a bastard for smack talk. But he'd do it in such subtle ways, and even like denying he'd done it, like offhanded compliments, like good shot, when it clearly wasn't a good shot. And he used to do things like, you could still smoke inside at the time, and he used to smoke, and I'd be taking a shot, and as I'm about to take it, this smoke had just come across the table, and I'm not a smoker, and it'd do my head in. I go, what are you doing that for? He'd go, what am I doing? I said, oh, am I? I'm so sorry. And then I'd be about to take my shot again, and he'd get his snooker cue and just go, and just drop it on the floor like that. And I'd look at him and go, can you just stop that? But he knew it was getting into my head, and that was the worst thing. If it hadn't have bothered me, and I just carried on. And, we'd play for money occasionally, and if we played for money, that was even worse. And there'd be times where then, it'd be the opposite, where he'd do nothing. And that'd just throw me off, because I think, why isn't he doing anything? What's going on now?
What's he up to?
But
would you never return fire?
No, I used to be too wound up at the time. It'd just get on my nerves so much, and I didn't want to lower myself to. But if we're just having a bit of fun and a bit of banter, that's different. But back then, that he used to wind me up with that. But nowadays, if we're just playing a game, yeah, it's a bit of smack talk, a bit of a laugh. I think, as Jesse, have we played Jesse's answer already? We have, haven't we? If if you're in a park and you're playing people, like you see these YouTube videos where people, it's a good laugh. It's it's because it's not serious. You're not playing for anything else. It's just a bit of a laugh. I think if you were sat in a tournament, that could be interesting. Playing over the board in a tournament and really giving it large to the person opposite you. Would you do that, Jofers?
I think my problem is I wouldn't know how to gauge whether I've taken it too far or I haven't took it far enough. So, like, I'm not going to lie, I think I just end up complimenting them by accident. I'd be so shit at smack talk. I'd either compliment them or I'd take it too far and, like, kidnap a relative or just really take it above and beyond.
I think you'd realise when there was blood coming out your nose, sort of thing. Yeah. Could have just smacked you properly.
I may have taken it too far this time, just a tad. But yeah, I'm not a smack talker. I like to just play and it takes the fun out of it for me. But I get what Jesse was saying about if you're in the park against the chess hustlers, it's part of the fun and it's part of the whole thing.
I think it comes down to circumstance. But I guess if you're looking to get an online advantage in a game and you're willing to go down that route and you're not doing anything that violates the policies of chess.com or Lee Chess or something, then I guess all is sort of unfair and go for it.
Nah, 100%.
If that's your thing.
Yeah, if that's your jam. And the next one kind of links in a little bit. It's it was all to do with dirty tricks, wasn't it? Are there certain things that are really frowned upon that kind of go against chess etiquette? When should you use these kind of things? And this is what Jesse had to say.
Now, in terms of dirty tricks, there is only one that I can truly think of that I think is actually appropriate. If you're about to play a chess move that sets a trap for your opponent, there is absolutely nothing wrong with trying to pretend as soon as you've made the move that you immediately realize it's a horrible, disgusting move and get up and walk away from the chessboard. Act like it's horrific. And maybe your opponent will be so excited, like, oh my God, I've got him, that they won't thoroughly calculate and they'll play that obvious refutation, something like that. There's nothing wrong with doing that at all. In fact, I think I kind of condone it. There's really, if you want to act like it's a great move or a bad move or whatever like that, again, there's no rules against that whatsoever, nor should there be.
Yeah, I do kind of love that one that he says he does where he'll do... so what was it? I think he said that he'll do a brilliant move, which is it's kind of like a trap, setting him up for a trap, but he'll be like, oh, fucking blundered. He'll walk away all angry and stuff, and then obviously they'll fall for the trap. And I wouldn't have that poker face. I'd be walking away giggling and I'd be winking at the chess officials in the tournament hall. I'd have no chill.
I think that could work though. I can picture you doing that, Joe, first playing good moves and walking off. Sort of play. Do you reckon you're that good an actor that you couldn't do it?
I just got no hope. In the slightest. Nah, not in the slightest. But yeah, it's one of those funny things, isn't it, where there's certain things that are completely legal, but then people frown upon them and say, "Oh, it's against etiquette." It's like, who cares about the etiquette? It's part of the game.
If you
it's
can
like,
do it.
Yeah. Do you watch tennis at all, or?
Some, not really.
Well, there's this Australian chap who.
Oh, I know who you mean. Yeah.
That Kyrgios guy.
Yeah.
He does so. Everyone does these massive serves and they come bloody 110 miles an hour and stuff. Yeah, he'll throw an underarm in because... and he just does it to combat the fact that players stand so far back to receive this serve that it's just really easy to return it. So every now and again, just throw an underarm in. And all these poshos in the crowd were like, boo, boo, just like booing him. It was like, what? It's part of the game. It's not illegal.
He hasn't done anything wrong. I totally agree. I think if you can get away with doing these things, I like that sort of thing. When I was playing you recently over the board, I was doing things where I was staring at one section of the board thinking that you'd think that was my plans for the next move, where really I was planning somewhere else on the board.
Do you think that's what was putting me off? Oh, you was burping in my face with your soup and your bread. You was disgusting to play over the board with. It was nothing to do with your tactics.
What about the next one, Joe? For the Dead Poets Society? Taking a different view on things. Play Jesse's answer there.
Let's go for it.
Here is something else that I like to do during my chess games, although I like to do it for personal reasons. However, I do think it gets into the heads of my opponents. You see, there's this really famous movie called Dead Poets Society in which Robin Williams commands his students to stand on their desks, and he tells them this is to change their perspective. He tells them that if you look at something differently, your mind is forced to think about it differently. So, with that being in mind, lots of times during the chess game, especially during a more crucial position, I will get up from the board and I will walk around from my opponent's point of view, and I will look at it from their side. And I will tell you what, on multiple occasions, I have been able to find really neat ideas because I'll think, oh man, if I were them, I would not want to see this coming. And I can do this online too, much easier. Just flip the board. In fact, if you've never tried playing a game online in reverse, where you're looking at it from your opponent's perspective, you should try it sometime and see what happens. It's very interesting.
So yeah, it's just something so simple, but you are going to see something differently from a different perspective. So getting up, going around and having a look at their side. Is this something you've ever done? Do you ever flip the board on chess.com?
I don't, but it was a side challenge I came up with you for this week. You know, I said, what did I come up with for you, Joe? First, my mind's gone blank. You know that.
So asking them to shit talk.
Smack talk, yeah, shit talking Joe first. The other one was to play a good number of games the other way round.
Okay.
Like flip the board and do that. So I thought, but I ditched
Could
that
be
one
next
in
week,
favour
maybe.
of the other. But no, I haven't really tried it myself. When I've been analysing matches, sometimes I've done it from the other way around just to see what it would have looked like for the opponent. But I think just the very fact you're getting up and doing it is obviously it's going to get into their head, isn't it? It's like, especially if you like lean over them and just,
sit on their lap.
Yeah, haven't brushed your teeth or something, and you're just yeah. So I like that one. What was our last one? Oh yeah,
So the last one was just general advice, which I
general
love.
advice. Yeah, play the general advice.
But all nonsense aside, let me just say this. The ultimate goal for every chess player is to be perfectly calm and tranquil for every single move, while still having the confidence to believe that you can play the best chess move in any position against any opponent in any circumstance. The simple belief in your own abilities in a calm, tranquil manner. If you can do that, then you're going to be golden. And I'm going to tell you a little story about how I figured this out. This is not my most flattering moment. It was 2012, and I went to the North American Open in Vegas. And I told myself, all right, this is a 9-round tournament. I need to win my first game and set the motion off right. And I was the lowest rated player in a section of Masters. And I lost my first game, and I was raging. You've never seen me so mad. After my second loss, I raged so hard that even as a person with asthma, I went out and I bought cigarettes, and I smoked a couple to punish myself. Literally, that's how not okay I was. The next 2 games I won and I was overjoyed, followed by more losses and devastation. And I'll tell you this, after 6 rounds of doing this, I was emotionally and mentally exhausted. I had nothing left to give. And so my last 3 games, I was as calm as you could ever imagine because there was no emotion left. It was somewhere between calm and numb. But I'll tell you what, gentlemen, I played 3 of the best games of chess I have ever played in my entire life. There is something to be said for being emotionally withdrawn from your chess games.
So, yeah, a bit of a funny story there about what's the word? Not sadistic. Is it like, what's the word where you just want to punish yourself? So he had gone... Masochistic, yeah. So he was so angry with himself, he just wanted to get those cigarettes because he's got asthma and it just kind of punished his body. And it's just so funny. And I don't know what your first thought was, but my first thought was that I'm glad he's asthmatic and doesn't have like a latex allergy. Like imagine going into the shop and like I just want a 5-pack of condoms. Like I need to feel the pain. I need to punish myself.
Jofers, your filthy mind.
Brilliant.
I mean, you could do it with ice cubes, punching yourself in the nuts, all those sort of things, couldn't you? Just to really psych yourself up.
Got to do it, it's how I get into the mindset for chess. But brilliant answers as always
be calm,
from Jesse.
Be tranquil, be confident, play the best move, believe in your own abilities. You've cracked it. If you can actually do that, guess you've cracked it. I think it'd be interesting for us both to play over the board in a tournament somewhere and just see how that pressure feels completely different.
Yeah. We should do it out and report back to here. Like, I think that could be quite funny.
It's a challenge. We'll
Let's
do
do it.
that at some point. Jofers, so thank you, Jesse, as
thank you.
always, with his excellent advice there. Jesse, National Master Jesse Cohen from Summit School of Chess in Colorado. Go and book yourself some lessons with Jesse, and you won't regret it. And Jofers, what's left? Chess World Championship, World Cup, World Championship.
World
Which
Cup.
is it?
World Cup.
I thought about this week, right? If it's if you're in football, you win the World Cup, you're the world champions. But in chess, you win the World Cup, you're not the world champion.
So true. Yeah.
What are you?
Still
The World Cupper? What's
The World Cupper, maybe?
I don't know.
Maybe. I'm not sure, but the World Cupper is now Magnus Carlsen. It's the one thing that's eluded him for years, and he's done it. He's completed it. It was a tough game, went to tie breaks against Pragnananda, this young lad, and he kind of smashed it in the end, so fair play to him.
Yeah,
it was one of those finals.
him, didn't he, at one point?
Yeah, so he was kind of forcing draws just to extend it another day so that he could kind of have time to heal. And so,
shit.
yeah, if he can win... What was that?
Or shit.
Or
Heal
shit.
or shit.
Yeah,
He's probably
maybe.
playing chess going, it's crap.
Yeah. But fair play to him. It was one of those where I would have been happy with whoever won. So I'm happy Magnus did it, because now he can kind of maybe step away from classical, which I think he wants to do. And now, the youngsters like Prague and myself can kind of take over the future of chess.
I like the look of this Prague guy. I like the family aspect. I loved seeing his mum there with him.
Yep.
I've been looking at some of his posts on Twitter. I like this guy. I'm sure
let's get him on.
I'm sure he likes us too. He's going to come on the show. We've had listeners in India.
I didn't listen to his post match conference, but I'm assuming it was mostly to do with us and how we kind of I think so.
Influenced him and so on.
Yeah, it makes sense. But now really good chess World Cup. I'm going to miss it a lot, and it's just I don't know. Nah, not really. I don't know why I said that. I ain't had the time to watch it, if I'm honest, but I've loved the whole story of it. So I've loved it for the narrative.
Matches. It was all right.
Yeah.
It's all right. I don't
Pretty
know.
long, though, isn't it?
Is somebody put some on Twitter this week about how could you improve sort of classical chess, and they were talking about various
Change
things
the channel.
taking shots in between between moves, etc. I put a suggestion on, and I quite like this. I wish somebody would make it. So make a set of chess pieces out of metal, and each piece has the capability of giving an electric shock when touched, just a mild electric shock, but at random, so you can make your move and not get one, or you can make your move and you will get one. And maybe the intensity of the shock increases depending on how long you take to make your move. So it encourages you to move faster. And I don't know, I just think it'd be a really fun game to play or to watch.
Why did that primary school stop you from teaching chess?
I don't know, I need to check on that, but yeah.
And have all those students recovered from their seizures?
Not yet.
There must have been something in the water, I reckon.
I think so.
Completely unrelated.
Oh, Jofa, so that's World Cup covered. I think there's some other World Rapid Chess Tournament going on, maybe at the moment. But I
maybe.
know
We're not
nothing.
experts.
What do I know? Absolutely. I tell you what I do know. I know that Vanka is the Estonian for rook, and Springer is the Danish for knight, and that's all you need to know.
So
you know what else I need to know?
Go on.
What have you, Jofers, been exceptionally loving this week? And Jofers, stop. Sorry. The listener, what have you been exceptionally loving? Tell us. Just tell us. I mean, don't tell us now. We can't hear you. But somehow,
people just screaming at their phones.
Email us, averagejoeschess@gmail.com. Take a look at, you contact us through Patreon, through Twitter, through, just try and contact us. Let us know what you've been exceptionally loving. We don't care what it is. It can be something stupid. Let us know. Because I'm sure Jofers is about to tell us something stupid. Jofers.
As always. So I have been exceptionally loving the concept of irony. I had like the most ironic thing happen to me this week, and it just made me giggle. I just thought, it made me giggle. It didn't make the other person giggle too much. But essentially, so my whole job is just kind of making sure students are on time to college and making sure they're attending college. And we had a whole seminar for our kind of pre-term training, all to do with how punctuality is key and all about professional development. And I turned up 10 minutes late and got an absolute grilling by the principal. Yeah, he was not happy. He was fuming. It was like, you're supposed to be setting an example to the kids. You're supposed to be telling them to be on time, and then you come late. Blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, shut up. Like,
Seriously, did you tell him about your bollocks and the ice cubes and all of that?
I had to, and he was like, "Oh, it's inappropriate towards the children." Honestly,
Did you turn up 10 minutes late and then arrange everybody's pieces?
what do you mean by pieces?
I'm not saying, but you know,
Okay.
like, did you just make sure everything was facing the right direction? Did you touch everybody's pieces? And
Yeah, it opened up a whole can of worms. Like, I don't want to go into it.
Nah, I love the irony of that one, Jofers.
I thought it was quite funny. Yeah. How about yourself? What have you been loving this week?
So yeah, I've been. You know, I love coffee. In fact, I've drunk a cup while we've been talking here. But I haven't found a good coffee shop for a while in my town. And I don't like going to the chains like Costa, and unless you sponsor us, Costa, then I love you. But I don't like going to Starbucks, Costa, Nero, you know, unless any of you sponsor us. Then I love you all so much. But it's nothing to do with the product. It's just this sort of corporate faceless, you know, whatever. And I found another coffee shop in my town, but I found the coffee was a bit weird. And there's been another one that I've been meaning to pop into. The owner's recently taken it on like 2 or 3 years ago, and I went in and chatted with the guy, and he's from Dublin. He can talk. He knows all the customers. I was the youngest person in there, aged 50. And it was really good coffee, and it's just nice to know I've got a nice coffee shop to hang about in. And I was in there with my daughter yesterday, and I suggested to her, next time we come in, should we just bring a chessboard and have a game in the coffee shop?
Oh, I love
and
that.
Maybe other old age pensioners might join in with us or something.
Could set a little trend there. That sounds really cute, though.
Yeah, so that I've been exceptionally loving finding a decent coffee shop that sells decent coffee.
Do you want to give him a shout out? I don't know how many listeners we have. Nah, fair enough.
So that's it, Jofers.
Okay.
That is my week. That's what I've exceptionally loved. That's the World Cup. That's chess tactics. We've talked a lot of bollocks for looks like 1 hour and 2 minutes or so until you edit it down to very little time. Should we call it a day? You've got stuff to do.
Let's
haven't
do
we?
it.
You're seeing
Let's
your
do
girlfriend, aren't you, this afternoon?
I am indeed.
Have you
She's at a
told her
monkey
about-
farm at the moment.
She's at a what?
A monkey farm? I didn't want to ask too many
What the hell is
questions.
a monkey farm?
I think she's having an affair, and she's not very good at lying. She's...
What am I going to tell him? What about a monkey farm?
I didn't ask too many questions. I don't want to know. I was like, okay, fair enough. Like, leave it to it. But...
Does she know about your challenge from last week, about your ball bag and all of this? And
Well, she listens to the podcast, so she will have known. And I'm sure, we'll be discussing it later.
nice. Jofers, pleasure as usual. I'll catch up with you later, man. Take it easy.
Nice one. Catch you in a
Cheers,
bit.
Jofers. Nice
Bye.
one.